A very warm welcome to you. Many thanks for joining us on this week's edition of the program, Almond Finance and Wealth Report. We remain your one-stop shop for all the latest happenings in the world of insurance. My name is Maggie Osibo, and it's a pleasure to be here. On the program this week, we take a breather from our regular lineup to bring you highlights of the 2019 National Insurance Conference that took place recently at the Congress Hall of the Transcorp Hilton Hotel, Abuja. The National Insurance Conference is the brainchild of the Insurance Industry Consultative Council, IICC, a body set up in 2013 to act as a unifying voice for the insurance industry. The annual conference today provides a veritable platform for top government functionaries, investors, and other stakeholders to discuss issues affecting the insurance industry in Nigeria. The 2019 edition with the theme Disruption, Innovation, and Business Growth had over 600 delegates in attendance. Happy viewing.
The word insurance is the most used word in Nigeria today. I give an example of my driver, my Audley, who traveled from Enugu to here. He chartered a vehicle. He told me this story yesterday. And as soon as they left Enugu, the driver parked, brought out something. I don't know what it is, don't ask me. And tied it around his waist. Wait. I've not said anything, and you're laughing. And he asked the driver, "What is that?" And what did he answer? "This is insurance."
How does technology help the industry to deliver superior service and deepen insurance penetration?
Firms will only benefit from digital technology only if they embrace its potentials along the entire insurance value chain.
I wish to restate the commitment of the Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation to work closely with the Insurance Consultative Council towards the promotion of confidence and interest in the insurance business in Nigeria.
I believe that this industry, the insurance industry, is very ripe for disruption, innovation, and growth. And while I acknowledge the significant progress that has been made by the industry, I believe that there's still a long way to go.
To what extent will digital technology, first of all, transform the cost structure of the business system? To what extent will it mitigate the disruption to supply and demand in the industry? To what extent will it give birth to new value propositions and markets?
Innovation is our new reality. We must all become disruptors or risk being disrupted. I charge the insurance industry to rise up to the challenge that each and every Nigerian has of a Nigeria that is fully developed and where industries will take charge of the change that Nigeria truly needs.
The idea of hosting a unified national conference by the Insurance Industry Consultative Council, IICC, the umbrella body of all arms of the insurance industry in Nigeria a few years ago, is today a major platform for top government functionaries, investors and operators from within and outside the insurance sector to discuss issues germane to the growth and development of the insurance subsector. The 2019 edition with the theme Disruption, Innovation and Business Growth was recently held at the Congress Hall Transcorp Hilton Hotel, Abuja, with over 600 delegates in attendance. The 3 days conference kicked off with a welcome cocktail which afforded delegates to socialize with friends and colleagues in a relaxed atmosphere. Welcoming delegate to the official opening ceremony of the 2019 conference, Mr. Eddie Efekwa, Chairman, Insurance Industry Consultative Council, IICC, said that the current recapitalization exercise being pushed by the regulator, like all other reforms in the past in the insurance sector, presents both opportunities and challenges for all stakeholders.
This recapitalization exercise, like every past reform, presents both opportunities and new challenges. As operators, we must begin now and not later to address our mind to the following questions. How do we maximize the use of the additional capital to generate superior returns to investors? How does technology help the industry to deliver superior service and deepen insurance penetration? What do we do to develop and attract the right skills and talents that can match the fast pace of technological revolution? How do we harness the values inherent in partnering with other industries like telecom and banks to deepen insurance penetration? How do we partner with various arms of government like the Nigerian Police Force, the Custom, the Fire Service, to ensure compulsory insurance are enforced?
In his keynote address, the chief host, Commissioner for Insurance, Alhaji Mohammed Kari, said that the insurance industry must consciously be proactive and organized so as to take full advantage of the opportunities provided by emerging technologies.
Therefore, in order to remain relevant and become a critical contributor to the national economy, the industry must consciously be proactive and organized so as to make advances of the opportunity and to take advantage of these opportunities provided by this disruptive development, while at the same time curbing their corresponding negative impact. It is important to note that firms will only benefit from digital technology only if they embrace its potentials along the entire insurance value chain, including underwriting and claims management. This would therefore entail a rethink of the industry's business strategy, an alignment of its operational practice to contemporary economic contexts, such as the Economic Recovery and Growth Program, ERGP of the federal government, sustainable and inclusive insurance, as well as exploiting the benefit of implementing the second phase of the Market Development and Restructuring Initiative, MDRI, among others.
Declaring the conference open, the representative of the President of the Federation, Dr. Mahmoud Issa Dutse, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Finance, urged the insurance industry to adapt new strategies in order to reap the benefits that technology brings.
The insurance industry has rules and regulations that all insurance companies must follow, and this may cause them to struggle on how to understand and implement the new technologies and innovation. We must also put in place strategies to mitigate and control such risks so that the benefits of the application of technology to the insurance sector can be fully realized. There are 4 questions I would like this conference to also explore in order to start building a strategy for companies to adopt. To what extent will digital technology, first of all, transform the cost structure of the business system? To what extent will it mitigate the disruption to supply and demand in the industry? To what extent will it give birth to new value propositions and markets? And finally, to what extent will digital technology give birth to hyperscale platforms? In consideration of these questions, also ponder on the federal government's expectations of insurance companies, which include the following. A, increased financial capability to enable local risk retention. B, prompt payment of claims. C, transparency in dealing with potential policyholders to engender consumer trust. D, expansion in current portfolio of insurance products to better address client needs. While wishing you very fruitful deliberations, on behalf of His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to declare the conference open. Thank you very much.
insurance industry globally for many years has relied on traditional models of operation with minimal use of technology. Today, they are trying to adopt emerging technologies to drive their operations. This has given rise to InsurTech, which is the use of technologies to develop new solutions for the insuring public. Delivering the theme paper of the conference, Disruption, Innovation and Business Growth, in the first session was Mrs. Iyabo Soji Okunsoya, representative of the guest speaker, Mr. Herbert Wigwe, Group Managing Director, Access Bank PLC. Chairman of session was Mr. Rotimi Okwaisi of EY Nigeria Assurance Services. Panelists were Mr. Femi Williams, Managing Director, Chance PLC, and Mr. Kayode Awogboro of ARC Insurance Group. In her presentation, Mrs. Okusoya noted that in the era of technological change, insurance companies must compete on the frontiers of technology, customer experience, efficiency, and value creation.
Businesses and organizations must accept the reality that competition itself is changing. New technologies and business models are arising that will profoundly affect the functioning of existing industries. Whilst we must protect and grow our individual market share, we must ensure that we compete on the frontiers of technology, efficiency, customer experience, and value. The authorities will need to redefine and guide all players using the best competition advocacy. Second, Nigeria must urgently deal with the challenges of intellectual property protection to maximize the growth of innovation. Without this, it will be tough harnessing talents and inventions for economic growth.
Sharing his thoughts during the panel discussion, panelist Mr. Wogboro said that insurers must look at technology as an enabler.
An average bank in Nigeria has over 5 million customers. So if bank assurance contracts actually worked the way they should work, the volume that would come into the industry in terms of even inquiries, would we as an industry be able to manage pricing? Would we be able to manage risk? Would we be able to manage claim settlement, which is the important thing? So on the one hand, technology is fantastic that it can bring all these new inquiries and all this new premium to our sector, but the real trick is if you don't have the technology to support all those inquiries, then we find ourselves with the same comments that people have made about our industry for years, right? In terms of claim settlements, in terms of turnaround time, in terms of the customer experience. So we look at tech as more than disruption. I think tech needs to be looked at as an enabler. What do we mean by enabling? Data. Insurance is all about data. Even the banks will tell you that. Any channel is about data. So when we're talking about data, insurance data is the cleanest data globally. If I was to get a credit card today, the chances are I will exaggerate my earnings so I get a higher credit limit, correct? When it comes to insurance, if you exaggerate on your questionnaire, the chances are your insurance policy is voided, right? So individuals, corporates, are also encouraged to give correct information when it comes to insurance policies. So with that data, what you then have is the ability to service your customers better. So if you're now making the availability of insurance products to be sold via many different channels using technology, by the time it gets to the insurance company, is that data still intact?
The second panel session of the conference focused on digital disruption, threat or opportunity. Guest speaker was Mr. Segfried Jegels. Chairman of session was Mr. Sunday Akindari, Executive Commissioner, Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC. Panelists were Mr. Demola Aladekomo, Non-Executive Director, Shams PLC, and Mr. Ikechukwu Kilekome of the Department of Economics, Lagos Business School. In his presentation, Mr. Jegels urged insurers to know what their customers want in this era of technology.
Traditionally, insurance was sold by means of developing products and pushing it into the market. But nowadays, insurance is being bought because customers determine what they want. So we need to go back to our value propositions to customers and ask the question, what is it that you want? Once we understand that, we begin to optimize parts of the process and the business. Then we innovate. We not only optimize, we see how can we innovate. Let's decide to go from pure agent and broker to direct, for example. We then develop a minimum viable proposition that you test very quickly over 3 to 6 months within an incubator. And once you get that to work, you make this part of the main business function by remodeling the business. And finally, you build economies of scale by means of innovation.
Sharing his thoughts on the paper presentation, the chairman of session, Mr. Akindari, said that the demand for change in the insurance sector is now, because those that fail to innovate will go out of business.
For the insurance sector, the demand for change is from the stock product model approach to the bespoke approach of selling insurance products and services. And I heard very clearly, he talked about business optimization. He talked about the interconnectedness of things, the IoT. Of course, 5G, we've heard about 5G. 5G is just right at our door. We're still grappling with 4G. But of course, 4G can also deliver for us. He talked about innovation. Consistently, if you refuse to innovate, you die.
After the serious paper sessions and the opening formalities, delegates settled for the superlative conference dinner, which afforded them to unwind. Welcoming delegates to the conference dinner, the chairman, organizing and planning committee of the RICC, Sir M.O. Oyegunle, employed delegates to maximize the dinner opportunity to socialize.
So on behalf of the chairman, I want to sincerely welcome all of you. Our paper presenters that are here and discussants, we want to thank you, particularly those who participated in the program today. Honestly, if you are hosting this dinner to honor you, you deserve more than that. So we want to sincerely thank you. For the wonderful participants, this is the only opportunity we have to wind down and to really socialize and know each other better. So if you have to travel that far to come to Abuja for this program, please make the maximum use of this opportunity.
Having welcomed all to the dinner, formally, the chairman of the RICC and members of the organizing committee took to the dance floor. The third day of the conference started with the third paper session, Transforming Insurance Business Through Inclusive Insurance. Guest speaker was Mrs. Eme Esen-Lore, Country Manager, IFC. Chairman of session was Dr. Layi Fatono, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Niger Delta Exploration and Production, PLC. Discussants were Mr. Esija, Chief Executive Officer, EFINA, and Ms. Benedicta Molokwe, former President of the Institute of Directors. In her presentation, Mrs. Lore stated that the lack of awareness and trust in insurance among Nigerians poses a huge challenge for inclusive insurance.
We have a big problem in Nigeria. When you compare Nigeria to its peers, insurance penetration is too low. Insurance penetration is going to be a key factor for Nigeria to achieve financial inclusion. So I think all of you are aware that there is tremendous potential in this space. And the innovation for that is going to come from those of you in this room. Another key thing, I think this is actually quite important, is a lack of awareness of how insurance works and a low trust in insurance companies. This will compound the development challenges. Again, these are problems that can be solved by the people in this room. The trust factor, it's critically important. Word spreads very quickly, so if people don't trust, they won't take advantage of the services.
Also sharing her thoughts during the panel discussion, Ms. Molukwe said that to drive inclusive insurance, recession data is key.
Some of the regulators pay lip service to what they're supposed to do. Some of them would like to do it, but the system militates against it. I'm looking at telco, for instance. The telecom industry is a great backbone for reaching the mass markets. And I believe that because we're still, even though we're very well connected, but we're still in our infancy in utilization of the functions of these phones. A lot of the places where you have the low-income people do not have internet access. So unless you can reach them and market them, get their transactions through SMS, you're unlikely to be successful. How are they going to make a claim if they reach you on SMS, pay their premium, no documentation? That is a hurdle that will need to be looked at. So regulator engagement, you need it for product approvals, because currently it even takes time. So what about when you're doing micro products?
Others who made presentations were Mr. Babatunde Irukere, Director General and Chief Executive Officer, Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, Deputy Corps Marshal Kenneth Wangwe of the Federal Road Safety Commission, FRSC, and lastly, Dr. Nkasi Obi Nebo from Pitch Aid Medical Outreach at the IDP camp. The fourth session of the conference focused on regulation, innovation, and business growth. Guest speaker was Dr. Doyin Salami of the Lagos Business School. Chairman of session was Mr. N.K. Ahmad, Chairman Board of Directors, Polaris Bank, and Mr. Tunji Oluyemi, former Managing Director of Glanville Etoven. In his presentation, Dr. Salami noted that most regulators are innovation adopters. As such, their outlook must be global.
The reason people cannot talk to their regulators is that what they say they do and what the regulator knows that they do are not the same. And for as long as what they say they do and what the regulator knows that they do are divergent, they cannot speak to the regulator meaningfully. I hope you are beginning to appreciate why the market may not grow. Secondly, I'm very clear that in the space of innovation, Nigeria is not yet an innovation creator. We are innovation adopters. And therefore, if we are innovation adopters, essentially what we do is to domesticate innovation from other markets. That immediately also then places a direct burden on both regulator and the regulated. That if we are going to be domesticating things from other markets, then our outlook has got to be global.
The high point of the annual National Insurance Conference is the no-holds-barred interactive session with the Commissioner for Insurance and all the critical stakeholders in the industry. Kickstarting the interactive session this year was Alhaji Muhammad Kari.
We have had in this market that even directors in their board meetings have been misled to believe that the company is not paying dividend because of the regulator. The company is not paying claim because of the regulator. Everything is blamed on the regulator. When it rains, it's the regulator. When premiums are outstanding and they have to be written off, it is the regulator. When you should not have offered premium in the policy in the first place without premium. So if directors will take their fiduciary responsibility more serious, the regulator will be involved with your operation less. The regulator has no business getting involved with your day-to-day affairs.
All the speakers during the session were the Deputy Commissioner for Insurance Technical, Mr. O.S. Thomas, Chairman IICC, Mr. A.D. Efekwa, President of the Nigerian Council of Registered Insurance Brokers, Mr. Shola Tinubu, and a host of others. Given the caliber of guest speakers, discussants, and panelists at this year's conference, and the topical issue of recapitalization that is at the front burner of the insurance industry at the moment, delegates had questions and, of course, more questions. The 2019 National Insurance Conference was a huge success by every standard. It is hoped that the IICC will surpass this year's performance next year with even better outing.
And that is our time on the program this week. Many thanks for being a part of it. Do join us again next week, same time, same station for a fresh package. If you missed today's edition, not to worry, you can catch it on our YouTube channel. But don't forget to connect with us and send us your feedback on all our social media platforms. Once again, my name is Maggie Osibo. Thanks for joining us this week. Next week, God's willing, we'll bring you highlights of the 46th African Insurance Organization Conference and General Assembly that took place in Johannesburg, South Africa. You don't want to miss it, so keep the date. But until then, from the entire crew, it's goodbye.